I've one we can do it whenever, but I've one kind of NSFW question that I wanted to run by you just to get your response for.
Do you want to start? You want to start with it?
We can start with that.
Sure,
Sure.
let's hear it.
So it's not that I've been thinking about this for like a long time, but like it has occasionally crossed my mind over the course of however long. Okay, so say you're sleeping on your bed, and your bed's we'll use this. Your bed's flat. Okay, right?
Okay.
Flat bed.
Flat. Okay.
Okay, and you're laying on your bed on your stomach.
Yes.
Okay. So say you were younger, like say 12.
Okay.
And you cut a hole in the mattress.
Sure.
About wiener sized.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
And you put just your wiener.
So like poke a hole with a toothpick. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You put just your wiener through that hole, and you lay on your stomach for however long. Would gravity pull your wiener down and make it longer? Don't ask why this has gone through my head.
I would say no. I would say yes.
Over the course of like a long period of time.
I was going to say if you started when they were like a baby, because otherwise if you started now, you wouldn't be any longer until or significantly longer until you were like 70.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't be significantly longer anyway.
Well, it does something, right? Because when a guy is standing for his whole life, his balls sag. A woman, when she stands, the reason boobs sag is because gravity over time. So you would think, in theory, gravity should extend it if that's where it's hanging. I would think blood flow might be an issue. You might lose some sort of blood flow near the base. This is an important question. However,
that's what I'm saying.
I think, maybe you give it 20 years and it's like a significant amount, maybe, but I think it takes even longer than that.
Sure.
Unless it has some weight to it, I guess. But you have to start with some weight.
Okay.
So
I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, yeah.
I'll do a side view before and after.
Okay.
Of me laying down and it just hanging there.
Welcome everybody. This is episode 50. Big episode. Glad we got to start with a good discussion. This is the Glaziar Gamble podcast. Just like these big podcasts, they start with an intro.
It'd be sweet if we could get the horn, like this.
Episode 50. We're glad you're here. This is our sports section. Don't have too many big things to talk about because we talked about the NBA Finals. You know how we feel. If you want to see our thoughts on the NBA Finals, go check out our first 2 episodes ago, episode 48. The reason you're here is for the title. First thing we would like to talk about is some finals, but it's not finals related. It's about one specific player. Andrew Wiggins. The reason we want to talk about it, we're Wolves fans. So all this week, people are clowning the Wolves fans, saying they got fleeced in a trade. Would you make the trade again? Would you trade D'Lo for Wiggins now?
Boy, do the Wolves look stupid now.
The Wolves look stupid. And we're here to tell you, Wolves fans are the most depressed fans in the NBA, and Minnesota fans in general love to hate their own teams. We've said that before. So you're going to hear a lot of Wolves fans agree with these people purely because Minnesota fans seem to love hating their teams more than rooting for their teams. From a true fan of the Wolves and Wiggins, I could not be happier for him.
Yeah.
I went through and I looked up my Twitter account with the name Andrew Wiggins just to see if I've said anything about him in the past. All of it is positive. From when he was on the team saying I'd give him a 10-year extension to when he was on the Warriors saying I've never been happier for him and I can't wait to see him get even better.
Right.
Saying that was in a better situation because he has a coach willing to develop him where he doesn't have to be a number one anymore, where they're asking him, oh, you have to be a lockdown, you have to be a 50, 40, 90 guy, right, where you're getting triple doubles every other night.
Yeah, sometimes he doesn't even have to be the third option.
Exactly.
Sometimes he's even the fourth option if you think Poole and Clay get some. So
I think he's in a perfect situation with a great coach. I think I could not be happier for him. I hope he gets a ring. I would love if Andrew Wiggins ended his career with a ring.
Too.
And Bielitsa.
Right. So Two former Wolves. Yeah, a lot of people are clowning the Wolves on Twitter. Like, would you do this trade again, or would you want Wiggins back instead of D'Lo? And all my responses were like, no. Like, he wasn't working here. Like, I saw another media member say, like, imagine if the Wolves kept Levine, Wiggins, and Towns, and it's like, well, we'd probably have 30 wins, like we did back then. Be a 30-win
team still.
So
the issue with those teams was fit, was fitting coaching. So you're not going to magically think these guys are better because of how they play now. Like, Levine has his stud numbers now because he went to a terrible team where he was the number one option that allowed him to shoot 23s a game if he wanted. Wiggins is thriving now because he's in a system that uses his talents exactly where they need to be, and he doesn't have to do anything beyond that. He's not being asked to do more than what he can do, which is what his issue with the Wolves. Levine's issue with the Wolves is they wanted him to share the spotlight. They wanted him to be a 2. They wanted him to be a 3. His numbers
to be a 1. Sam Mitchell even played him at the 1.
Right. So he was supposed to be this top option. He's at the Wolves. He's his top. At the Wolves, he was not a top option. At the Bulls,
and
they expected.
If Flip Saunders was still here, rest in peace, it might have been different.
It might have
been
different.
His vision for the team was obviously very different than what like Sam Mitchell did or Ryan Saunders did or Tibbs did. So
Tibbs destroyed the team.
Yeah, Tibbs set us back a little bit.
It was a complete reset after Tibbs. That's Tom Thibodeau goes to teams, destroys the team from the inside, and then says, "I'm out."
Yeah,
after
he gets fired. He
always has one good year. Knicks last year is every team Tom Thibodeau goes to, he makes it seem like he knows what he's doing. They have a good year, destroys it from the inside, and then people are like, well, it wasn't Tibbs' fault. He got fired even though it wasn't his fault. Like, notice the pattern. Stop blaming the players.
Right.
If you're going to give credit to the coaches, or if you're going to take credit from the coaches, you're going to give them credit where it's due negatively as well.
Sure.
But Wiggins, I'm so happy. I hope the Warriors win a ring. I'm so happy where the Wolves are now. Being over 40 wins is such a big step forward in the franchise. Every team gets better when they draft. Every team gets better when they make free agent signings. The Wolves can get better. The Wolves need to focus on Anthony Edwards. They need to get a center, like we have always been saying. They need to get a center that's defensive minded, play Cat Moore as a power forward so that he can do more around the wings. And they need a ball-centric, pass-first point guard, which D'Angelo Russell has proven in the playoffs. He was proven he could do that. And he proved that when needed, if Anthony Edwards is cold, he can shoot.
No, D'Lo's we wouldn't have won some of those games without D'Lo.
And we wouldn't have won 40 games without Patrick Beverley.
Yeah.
Patrick Beverley and Anthony Edwards turned the attitude of this team around.
Yeah.
So people are like, where would Wiggins and Levine make this team? We'd be a silent team. We'd be like the Kings.
Yeah, we wouldn't have Anthony Edwards if we kept them.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like back then you could be like, if Wiggins played to his full potential like he is now on our team, we could have done something different, but we wouldn't have Anthony Edwards at this point.
Nope.
So and
people still wouldn't want to come here.
Yeah. So I don't know. We got
key impact role players like Malik Beasley and Taurean Prince wouldn't be here either.
Yeah.
Jaden McDaniels might not be here. Jared Vanderbilt might not be here. Naz Reid might not be here.
Yeah.
These are all guys that I want to keep on the team. Taurean Prince, a guy like him would be good if we can't keep him, but
he's the one guy that's he's a free agent right now. So
we're a team that if the right guys take the next step, the team is I'm completely happy where they are.
Right.
So Wiggins, I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for the Warriors to get that ring for him. And no, he will not be getting finals MVP. The media has pushed Steph way too hard for anybody other than Steph to win it.
Right.
And if the Celtics win it, I still think it's Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. Here's just a weird fact back to Wiggins. The Warriors fans are like, Wiggins has, he had 29 rebounds in a 2-game span. Yep. Wiggins in his 5.5 years as a Timberwolf, he had 11 rebounds twice in 5.5 years, and he had 10 rebounds 10 other times. So he scored more. He had more than 10 rebounds in 12 games in 5.5 years.
Right.
And he's done that 6 times in this playoffs for the Warriors. So
Exactly.
I mean, it's effort, which was a big knock against him with the Timberwolves. And then it could just be like he's not supposed to be out running and gunning, so he's not taking off.
His energy can go towards rebounding and defense because he's not being asked to shoot 45% from 3 on 10 3 attempts a game.
Yeah.
He doesn't. It's exactly what Steve Kerr is using Wiggins the way he's supposed to be used. Wiggins doesn't have to be a number 1 because he's not a number 1.
Yeah. He's also, and Wiggins is also surrounded by 3 future Hall of Famers and a Hall of Fame coach. So a little different than Sam Mychal.
He's in the right position with a good coach. And I love where the Wolves are at too. So for people saying that the Wolves got fleeced, I'm completely happy where both teams are. Yeah, I'd rather be the team that's in the finals right now, but not so would 28 teams.
Yeah.
So if you're going to say like the Wolves shouldn't be happy, neither should 28 teams.
Yeah.
Suns shouldn't be happy with their roster. Sixers shouldn't be happy with their roster. Bucks shouldn't be happy with their roster. If the Wolves shouldn't be happy, all 28 teams should be unhappy about their roster. Right. So that's how I think. Go Wiggins. Even if you guys don't win it, wherever he ends up, if he ends up leaving the Warriors, I'll keep rooting for him. I like him a lot. And he's just a interesting guy, just as a person.
Sure.
All right, so that was our basketball talk. Let's do football talk. We wanted to talk about the wide receivers in the NFL. First thing I'd like to say is wide receiver seems to be now the easiest position ever in the entire NFL. Just want to point that out. You have the most freedom in the world. Who cares? Like people always say, you're the only position where somebody else determines how well you do. Larry Fitzgerald has proven that wrong throughout his entire career. I just want to point that statement out. Larry Fitzgerald, Andre Johnson, Roddy White. There's a few guys that made a career when they made a career of doing a good job as a wide receiver when they didn't have the ball. Yeah. Either distracting with routes or blocking. Those guys are 3 examples of just, you don't have to get the ball, but now wide receivers, now it's like, if you're not getting the ball, I'm not doing anything. Well, be that distraction, be that guy that takes his corner completely out of the play because they thought he was going on a streak when he wasn't. Just do something. Anyway, so another reason why wide receiver is super easy is every rookie wide receiver past however many years, every rookie wide receiver that's even average has a great first season, as long as they have a competent team. So like example, Elijah Moore on the Jets would have had a good season had he had a competent organization. Yeah. But if
Mike
he was
White,
on
if he had Mike White the entire season,
even if he had Mike White, I don't think it makes it. If he had, just some sort of not New York Jet team, like if he wasn't wearing a New York Jets jersey, he'd probably do much better.
Sure.
The Jets are so god awful, man.
Right.
So bad.
But they got Conk, so we're hoping good things for Conk.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's just he's gonna be asked to block all the time, even though he's good at everything else. Yeah. But yeah, so rookie wide receivers are super good. Because corners can't do anything to them. Safeties can't hit them the way safeties used to be able to hit. Linebackers can't chop him when they come across the middle. And if they do, it's a penalty. So wide receivers, just easiest time. Anybody that says otherwise, tell me what other positions easier that doesn't, like, tell me what positions. There are times you're watching the game. Some wide receivers will stand still after the ball's hiked because the play goes the other direction.
Yeah.
You will see it. It's bad. Anyway, what we wanted to talk about now that I got my little rant over, best wide receiver cores in the NFL. In my opinion, the Vikings are top 5. And
I agree with that statement. I think
I would say that even if I wasn't a Vikings fan, because statistics show it, and eye test shows it.
Yeah.
I think depending on decisions made by the team this offseason, because apparently Olabisi Johnson is currently taking
wide receiver 4 reps.
Wide receiver 4 reps.
Yeah.
If that's really your 4th option over Amir, it does make me question the decision making.
Yeah,
But
I mean, he had a really good first season.
yeah,
Like he had like 600 yards and 3 touchdowns or something.
and then
like that. So,
he
like,
and Christian McCaffrey hang out on the injured reserve for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it was like a year and a half he's been out. But
yeah, so he's no reason.
Amir Smith-Marset is also hurt too.
Right.
He's in like a walking boot. So
right. So KJ Osborne's hurt, Amir Smith-Marset's hurt, and Olabisi Johnson's going to eventually get hurt, even though I don't want him to.
Yeah.
Obviously. Well, I think Adam Thielen is one of the most productive wide receivers the NFL has had,
especially in the red zone.
I think it's been 2016. Him and Devontae Adams are like two of the top when it comes to touchdowns.
They have like 40 touchdowns. In the red zone in the last.
And if you're going to say, well, he's fallen off, I'm pretty sure he had double-digit touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
So if he's fallen off, and that's missing a game with COVID, like if he's fallen off, he's clearly, if that's falling off,
right?
Then
I mean, he hasn't been.
How good has he been?
He hasn't had like health, like he's had health issues, right? Like he's missed a couple of games, sprained ankle, stuff like that, COVID. But I mean, if he could put a full healthy season together outside of his red zone production, he'd be a top 15, top 20 wide receiver if he can. So, and
then Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver besides Jamar Chase. He's the best wide receiver under 25.
Yeah.
No matter who you want to say otherwise, to me, it's Justin Jefferson. Route running, hands, speed, blocking, all of it.
Dance, celebration.
Right. Celebration, marketing, interview skills.
Yeah. Camp, prowess.
Yeah. All of it. So
my hot take, I brought this to your attention earlier. I think Justin Jefferson is a better wide receiver than Cooper Kupp.
While that is a hot take, I would 100% agree. I think Cooper Kupp has the production. Last year, he was basically the only option in an offensive system designed for simplistic passing and lots of passing. Yes, the Rams like to run the ball and split the ball, but the Rams love to pass the ball. The Vikings have always had a run-first offense. Last year, they finally opened up some passing, and it was really like lots of numbers went up. So, I think you put Justin Jefferson in Cooper Kupp's role with that amount of targets and targets, you're going to see more production. So I would agree. Justin Jefferson is a better receiver than Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp on any other team is a 1,000-yard receiver still, but on some teams he's at 700 yards. There are teams where he's not doing what he does. I think Justin Jefferson's 1,000 yards on every team but the Jets. Because I think DeAndre Hopkins isn't 1,000-yard receiver on the Jets. I think Devontae Adams is under 10 touchdowns and under 1,000 yards on the Jets. They're such a bad team. They're so bad. Starts at the organization.
J-E-T-S.
Suck. That's what Shannon Sharp did. J-E-T-S. Suck. But anyway, so
our chance in the locker room too.
I think that's the Browns. Anyway, so the reason we wanted to bring that up, why we talked about the Vikings, all that, because some people have been talking about this and the Vikings haven't even been included either in the top 10. Some of them put them at like 8. Some people are like, oh, they're like 13. It's like, I don't get that. And some of the teams that are getting put above them are teams with rookies, teams that have had a receiver have one good year, teams that have never seen a receiver play for them yet.
Yeah.
The best receiving core in the NFL, in my mind, 100%, shouldn't second guess it.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
I don't think I think that it's the Bengals and a steep drop off for the next team. Even though I think very highly of the Vikings, I love Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase is at this moment in time, I think, better. I love Adam Thielen. I like Tyler Boyd better.
T. Higgins.
Yeah. I love KJ Osborne, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. They are just too good. CJ Uzoma is probably like the weak point.
He's a Jet now.
And now he's a Jet.
Yeah.
So they're just. I think
if you're doing just receivers, which if that's what it's wide receiver core.
Yes, it's not including tight ends. A lot of these teams just you shouldn't be included. Like the Raiders were included. Hunter Renfro's number skyrocketed after Waller and Ruggs were out.
Yeah.
Hunter Renfro's numbers got similar to Cup. Right. Usage rate had to go up.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the teams that say like some of the lists we've seen. Miami's one of them where they get, top 3, top 5 wide receiver added to the mix. Their wide receiver 2 numbers, which was their previous wide receiver 1, are going to go down. So Jalen Waddle's numbers are going to go down. He's not going to be able to do the same thing he did last year. Hunter Renfrow is not going to be able to do the same thing last year. The Rams don't have Van Jefferson. I can't name another receiver on there. Woods is gone. OBJ's not signed. Yep. So, and tight ends aren't included. So
it's Cooper Kupp. So I wouldn't put the Rams above them. Right. I wouldn't. And so I think it's
statistically speaking, KJ Osborne had the best wide receiver 3 numbers in Vikings history last year. So
right. Well, and so the only way I think counting tight ends would be okay is if a tight end lines up in slot more than they line up at a tight end position, like Jimmy Graham for the old Saints.
Sure. So Gesicki.
So I would count Gesicki. I would count Kyle Pitts.
Okay. You're not putting the Falcons on that list.
Anyways. But I'm not putting the Falcons on the list. Right. But I'm just saying, there are tight ends that last year, I think Kyle Pitts was in slot 70% of his snaps and 30% at tight end.
Sure.
So he's a wide receiver. I'll count those guys, but I'm not counting a George Kittle. I'm not counting a Travis Kelce where, even if it's 50-50, they're asked to block more than any receiver ever would block. So, not counting the Chiefs. The Chiefs aren't up there. No. Now, especially now that they lost Tyreek Hill. Yeah. What is it? Mychal, Hardman, Juju. Yeah. That's your receiver. Wouldn't count them. And then if you want to include the running backs, their ability to receive, a lot of these teams change it up. All of a sudden, you've got the Vikings where it's oh, geez, they got Dalvin Cook as their receiver too. You got Christian McCaffrey. You got
Dalvin Cook. If you want to include the receivers,
tight ends and running backs as receivers.
Dalvin's been lining up a lot in the slot. They want to pass or have him run routes and be a receiver more. So
their backfield's too loaded not to get a couple of these guys time. Like Kene needs time.
Right.
Kene can't go no snaps again.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think Bengals are the best. I think Bengals are clear and away. If you don't think it's the Bengals, you probably think it's your home team. If you're a Niners fan, you think it's the Niners. If you're a Jets fan, you think it's the Jets. It's the Bengals.
That's no one else. Everyone,
I think second would either be the Vikings. Again, that's home bias. I get that. So if you want to argue with me about somebody else,
sure.
I'm not sure who else I would put above the Buccaneers.
Bucks,
probably
Mike Evans, Godwin,
Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, and Scotty Miller.
Yeah.
So I think Scotty Miller is around that Olabisi level. So
Sure.
KJ Osborne. So yeah, you could argue with me if you said the Buccaneers. That's probably right. Bucks are probably second if I take away my Minnesota bias. So Bengals, Bucks,
Vikings.
Then I'd probably say Vikings.
Bengals,
Bucks, Vikings. Yeah, Vikings, Lions. The Beehawks.
The Dolphins.
But yeah, then after that, I think so. I saw a lot of people putting the Eagles in their top 5. The Eagles have a rookie that has never seen a snap. They have
Devonta Freeman,
who had a good rookie year, but it wasn't oh wow, that's the best rookie we've ever seen. Yeah. There were 2 other rookies
basically the only option outside of Dallas Goedert.
His numbers are going down now, and he has the quarterback that runs the most of any quarterback in the NFL. The quarterback that tucks and runs it more than anyone else, and
AJ Brown plays 10 games a year. So
yeah, exactly. AJ Brown might be one of the most overrated wide receivers in football. We've talked about this before. AJ Brown had single coverage every snap because he has Derrick Henry, and even when Derrick Henry was out, they had running backs taking the snaps all the time.
Yep.
And then they had Julio Jones on the other side, who people were scared of, so they were putting coverage on him even though they didn't need to.
Right.
So I wouldn't put the Eagles very high. You could probably convince me they're a top 10 if you gave me some compelling arguments.
Sure.
But to argue with me that they're a top 5 wide receiver core is idiotic.
Yeah.
Because
Rams have Allen Robinson.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp. So yeah, you could argue that they're definitely top 10 because of that.
Just remember that
I saw some people
Lions,
saying
no Bears, and then I was like Allen Robinson. Where do you go?
Saw some people saying the Bills are a top 10. I was like, you got
Gabriel
Diggs.
Gabriel Davis had like one fantastic game. It was in the playoffs. That's what everyone remembers.
I think the Broncos as well.
Yeah,
Nobody's putting the Broncos very high. I think the Broncos should be way up there.
Yeah.
Tim Patrick, extremely underrated. Courtland Sutton, super good.
Right.
Even guys like Deshaun Hamilton and KJ Hamler.
Jerry Jeudy's there.
Jerry Jeudy. They have a very good wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Like all of them are underrated. So like none of them I think will blow you away. Maybe Courtland Sutton, but I think the rest.
Yeah, but he's underproduced for 2 years too. It's Tim Patrick that's like, oh my god, like a 60-yard touchdown.
Nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows who all these other guys. Like all the other guys are super underrated. Right. They just have never had a quarterback yet that have been able to get them the ball. Right. I think if the Broncos go like full passing, even though they don't have to because they have good running backs, I think if the Broncos go full passing, they have wide receivers 1 through 5 all can produce. I think Broncos are super underrated in all these discussions.
Right. So. Chargers 1-2 is really good too.
Chargers are insane. I love the Chargers.
Like the Chargers 1-2 I like better than the Raiders 1-2.
Agreed. Agree 100%. I'm a massive Mike Williams fan.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows me, especially watches my fantasy football, I have drafted him very early since his rookie year because I love Mike Williams. When he was coming out of the draft, I love Mike Williams. Saints you can't put up there because Michael Thomas hasn't played football in 16 years.
First, I thought you were just gonna be like, because Michael Thomas is a bitch. I thought that's what you're gonna.
I could say that as well, but I'm gonna keep it true. Even though he's a bitch,
I just thought in my mind as soon as you said that, I was like, that's what was going through my head.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. You could say that because just because he is one, I'm not gonna say he is. All right. I wouldn't include, some people I saw trying to include the Cardinals because now that they have Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins,
suspended 6 games.
So if you're telling me they're all fully healthy, and you're telling me that one of them can turn back the clock 10 years, then I might agree with you. Yeah. And if DeAndre Hopkins isn't suspended, so like DeAndre Hopkins is there, Hollywood's there, Rondale Moore, and AJ Green, which that should be the order of their depth chart, by the way. Right now, AJ Green should be 4th string, 5th string, or assistant coach.
Yeah, you should bring him in at like end zone.
AJ Green might be one of the most overrated wide receivers.
Maybe
overrated.
Overrated too.
There were 2 crunch time throws last year that he didn't even attempt to catch.
Yeah.
Or just had no idea what was going on. He has lost it. Go ahead and prove me wrong this year, by the way. I've said this before. I love when guys I love being wrong when it comes to that sort of thing. AJ Green is the definition of washed. Just he doesn't block, he doesn't run hard, he doesn't catch it, he just dude's not even. He's a shell. He's like the artist formerly known as AJ Green.
Sure,
it's bad. It's bad, and which sucks because I've always loved his career in the Bengals when it was him, Marvin Jones, Hushmanzada, Mohamed Sanu, might have been Tyler Eifert.
Yeah.
That team was so fun.
Yeah, they should have been a lot better too.
And
they should have done a lot better too.
They should have been. They should have been better, but they had Red Rocket.
Oh, wait, they had oh man.
That was young Giovanni Bernard. Jeremy Hill, that's what it was. Jeremy Hill and young Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah, those guys were dynamic.
That team, so that team, I was like, AJ Green is so good. He is. Then he took off like that year and a half with the Bengals when he was trying to get out of the Bengals.
Yeah.
And during that year and a half, I think the Monstars got to him and they just
the hard and fat suit.
They just they took all of his talent and they put it in a football and he's still looking for it.
They gave it to Justin Jefferson is what they did.
They gave it to they hid it in the locker room and Jamar Chase took all of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Bengals, Bucks, Vikings. I would put the Chargers maybe that next. Broncos probably actually Broncos 4.
Broncos are good.
And then probably I don't know, you could argue
He's the Seahawks. Like Seahawks aren't like their 1-2's not bad either. But
I think Tyler Lockett was he's one of those guys. Could be better if he was more utilized. I think DK Metcalf.
Yeah, it's tough for like if you said like just from a receiver standpoint, it's also tough for them to get their numbers when Russell Wilson was running for his life 24/7 too.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's just one of those things. Like you said, not a lot. Not going to include the Falcons.
Yeah. The Dolphins,
the Browns lost everything, so
Dolphins aren't bad either.
Dolphins. So Dolphins, you could probably round out the top 5 with the Dolphins, or the Chargers. Probably the Dolphins though, especially because Gesicki lines up in wide receiver. So you count Gesicki, Waddle, Tyreek Hill. I think they still have Devontae Parker.
No, they traded him to the
traded Parker. So yeah, there you go. Texans. With their number 1 is
Brandon Cooks.
Okay, they're number 2. I genuinely can't think of who another wide receiver on the Texans.
I'm gonna just guess they have. I was gonna say Gerald Everett, but I don't even think that's right. Like tight end,
Gerald Everett.
Yeah, I don't think that's even right. I couldn't tell you.
I can't.
They have Tunsil. I know that. They have Tunsil. David Johnson still. And Brandon. That's the only players I can name on the Texans.
Ayuk doesn't play enough for me to count the Niners, by the way, for those people wondering. I think Deebo Samuel lined up at running back more than wide receiver for multiple games. So yes, while he is an incredible weapon, I don't think the Niners have an elite wide receiving core when it comes to top 5. Steelers always produce wide receivers, but they also produce wide receivers that drop every ball.
From a receiving standpoint, I think Mark Andrews is probably tight end too.
Yeah. So I think there it is. You got Bengals, Bucks, Vikings, Broncos, Dolphins. And then if you want to take any of those out, the teams that you would replace them with would be Cardinals at full capacity.
If you're counting,
Chargers,
counting Waller and their Raiders,
and they have Devontae Adams now. So Raiders, Chargers, maybe Rams. So Raiders, Chargers, Rams, and Cardinals.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I think the top 5 is pretty clear: Bucks, Bengals, Vikings, Broncos, Dolphins. I think that's a clear top 5 from a just wide receiver. Not
those aren't necessarily in the correct order.
Not necessarily any of them except Bengals. Bengals.
Yeah.
Bengals are their own tier of elite wide receiver. They are what you should try to make your wide receiver core look like. Extremely talented, young. One's on their second contract. One's on their like perfectly built wide receiving core. It's
gonna be curious to see how they perform this year. They don't have Uzoma, who's not only like a locker room guy, but he also kept Burrow clean. So
Deontay Johnson is great. I think it's Deontay.
Yeah. We'll talk
about Chase Claypool, overrated. Very good, but overrated. Love the Steelers.
Probably lost them the Steelers versus Vikings game too, because he decided to celebrate with 37 seconds left. So
yeah.
Dude, come on. Like what are you doing? Come on.
Get going, Chase. Oh man. Anyway, so yeah, come at us. Let us know why we're dumb, why your team has a better wide receiver. Let us know, Jets fans, why your team is really the number 1 wide receiving core. Let us know, Jags fans, why DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault are better.
DJ Chark is a lion.
Okay, why Laviska Shenault and whoever else the fuck you have is better than Adam Thielen.
Dude, The guy that signed from the Cards. You always know his name.
Oh, Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell
Let
me
us know why
he's your
Christian
$84
Kirk and
million
Laviska
man.
Shenault are better than Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen.
Uh-huh.
Why they're better than Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Why they're better than Mike Evans and
Chris Godwin.
I always want to say Robert Woods. Always want to say Robert Woods instead of Chris Godwin.
I have no idea where he is. I feel like he's a Bill. I don't know. I don't know where Robert Woods went. He got traded for a 6th, I think. So
yeah, Rams have to remove Cap somehow.
Yeah.
Anyway, congrats, Minkah Fitzpatrick, getting his deal. That's a lot to pay for a safety, but when everybody zigs, you zag. Steelers are 32nd cheap. They have the cheapest offensive in the league and the most expensive defense in the league. Everybody else is focusing on offense. Sometimes the way to success is doing what everybody else is not doing. So we'll see what happens there.
I'm very, very scared because the last time a safety got paid big, they fell off the planet.
Yeah.
Jamal Adams. So we'll see what Minkah can do.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. This was episode 50. This was a lot of fun. Love talking sports. Love thinking about the potential of Vikings, Timberwolves, and really just every team except the Packers.
Yeah.
And really every team but the 76ers when it comes to basketball.
Yeah. The fun fact in the Hustle movie, get this done
with
quick.
Adam
The
Sandler.
Hustle movie, Adam Sandler, Anthony Edwards, Juancho Hernan Gomez. There's a clip in there where Adam Sandler's talking to some blonde woman. I'm not sure who it is. I haven't seen the movie yet. But he says, and Philadelphia fans are some of the nicest on planet Earth. And I'm like, how is this not memed yet?
Right.
There's no way. There's no way they've actually been
not
to
a single sport. Not a single sport. NFL, NBA, Philadelphia fans are not. No. They mock old people. They have to grease lamp posts. They personally attack other players and fans. It's no, they're not.
Nah.
Anyway, let's end on that spicy FU note, and we'll see you guys next week, episode 51, where we'll probably have some discussion on, why Steph didn't win MVP, how badly it affects his legacy. Is Andrew Wiggins really the best player on the Warriors? Is it time for Steve Kerr to retire? Just hang it up because he has too many rings to hold. All of that. So yeah, you all look great today. GG.